It is definitely the Natuzzi design blend. I think that more and more partnerships meant to create value, such as in long-term friendship or families, are the ones that creators and brands should be looking at. And in this case, calling for Nika was really a call for a friendship, you know, was something that was driven by passion for what Nika's been doing in the evolution of her style, of her design career, but in the meantime, passion for something different from Natuzzi, aim for something different in Natuzzi that blend with the Natuzzi DNA would have created something new.
I was traveling for the first time to Bari, and I flew over the Adriatic Ocean. In the minute when I landed, I got this vision, actually the name of the collection, Deep. It was so clear for me, okay, this is something on which we have to work. And of course the first inspiration was the sea. So this was the key issue for the collection, the key inspiration, which also reflected not just in shapes, in forms, in symbolic meanings, but also in this deep attitude toward our environment, our shared aquatorium. And I think the collection really beautifully describes a sort of a novel, all the topics that we wanted to touch with this.
To me, deep was more of a feeling, you know. Was the feeling of connecting by this mutual passion for the project. And in a sense, when I thought about where Nika was coming from and where the company is based and I am coming from, there basically is just a tiny little piece of sea dividing us, but at the same time uniting us. So that connection that was spiritual, that was visual, that was in the imagination, but also at heart, then was real. When we were thinking about how are we connected, there's just a scene in between of us. And let's tell a story about that sea. Let's spread this message of respecting that sea, being devoted to that sea and to that connection. So that was the meaning for me. Sometimes from two really opposite elements, you can have an incredible blend that then gives you something that works and works fine. So in this case, I think that what I call the circle of harmony, so this idea of having a family where we really believe with authenticity on the project, is something that then synthesizes, like in the process of blending a good wine, a process that was quite long. We started to work 1 year prior to the presentation of the collection with Nika, and you could have seen how those differences were slowly reshaping all the angles to find then the perfect circle, right? She did something that I think is the perfect evolution of the visual comfort of Natuzzi, of those organic lines, because my father always said that wherever there's a corner, we make curves. And I think that she did it great. If you see the collection, I don't think there's a single corner. It's so curvy, it's so sensual, it's so authentic that I think we should be proud of how the blend came out.
So I strongly believe in emotional ergonomics when it comes to the design. This is the theory that is teaching us that we react when we see an object in a first second. It is after that first second that we start to analyze, understand, rationalize, but we actually make our decision in that very first second. And I believe it is this X factor, or let's say a certain charisma that an object should have to which we react. Of course, I have this very strong, passionate relationship with the nature, and I think I have this relationship on many levels. I like to spend a lot of time in the nature, whether it is on the seas or near the sea. I think that I always wanted to design with the same power, strength, and especially with the same attention to detail as Virginia Woolf, one of my big inspirations, wrote her novels. Because I believe these details that might seem really unimportant on a first glance are actually the details that can change the narrative of the story. The sustainability and in general this deep responsible attitude toward the environment around us was for sure one of the crucial elements over which of course the concept of the collection was born. Of course we addressed, I believe so, this sustainability not in a very simple way, because I think of course the sustainability has many levels through which you can address it. And I was really hoping that I could design the pieces that can last for generations. So it is something that you can have, that you don't throw, that doesn't have this expiration date. And I think this is really significant. Of course, we also try to apply sustainable materials, green materials, wherever it was possible. But then again, of course, these are big questions, big issues. It's not so easy to find the right way. But I think as a designer and as a company, you have to fight to add this responsible attitude toward the environment in every possible way. And I think this collection is on this road very strongly.
Well, it's hard to talk after her clarity of expressing what it was, but it definitely was driven by the idea of durable and timeless and really sustainable product in the approach of selecting materials. Like, there is my favorite product, I have to say, is the table in which we selected stone by stone the composition of this composite marble, And in this case, sustainability is one of the examples that I can make, the first references, because we really were keen on selecting, materials hand in hand, stone by stone, focusing on what would have been the final result, but having this sense of time and space in that moment, without sourcing, without a reason, without consciousness. It was sustainable in the approach of being very meticulous while selecting and while creating together. So sustainability, it's really a way of thinking, a way of interpreting your path to creation. Whether you are more keen, focused and conscious of what you're doing, and you focus on the quality and on, of course, the longevity of the outcome more than on the quantity and on the sourcing without a real meaning.